Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome back to another episode of the Weekly Discussion. Every single week we're going to bring you videos such as this one where we discuss car culture, anything that's going on in the automotive world, being a car enthusiast, being a mechanic, really anything that has to do with automotive. I really enjoy doing these videos, and a lot of times I get my ideas from the comments in the comment section below. So if you have an idea for a weekly discussion video, please drop it below. I'm going to start out this video by saying, you guys, I'm dealing with real bad allergies right now, so you're going to have to bear with me
if I sound like Squidward.
because I can barely breathe through my nose. It's been rough, but we're going to get through it. And today I think I have a pretty interesting topic, and it is going to revolve around this cup right here. And it says something along the lines of, $100 an hour base rate. If you worked on it before, if you tell me how to do my job. I can't read backwards, but it says something to that regard. This was a super awesome gift. No, I'm not drinking coffee right now. I got myself a little cocktail. It's almost Friday, so sit back, relax, and enjoy the video. We are going to be talking specifically about dealing with cars that somebody just wants you to do something on, right? As a mechanic, as a technician in the automotive industry, someone brings you a vehicle and they're like, so-and-so said it needs this. I just want you to put it in. What do? Let's find out. Welcome to the discussion. I've been giving to you. One other thing before we get into this one, you guys, I know it's been a while since I've talked about this. I've had a few shameless plugs on the channel before for the Adelphi headlight strip lamp. Let me stick this on here really quick and just kind of look at that, super bright. The light on my camera isn't going to pick it up super well, but it's form fit to my hat, stays right on there. So super awesome product right here. This is just like next level in the auto industry. I have friends that are plumbers, friends that are construction workers. This is just going to make your job a lot easier, just completely next level. I love how it's form fit to my head. I can continuously use this for a very long time before I have to change it. There's a hands-free wave function. It's just Adelphi headlights, you guys, you can't beat it. So if you want to get one of these, I'm actually going to give you a discount on your purchase of these Adelphi headlamps. So if you go down in the description, there's a website link and a discount coupon code for 10% off your entire order. Make sure you go down and grab one now so you can enjoy that 10% off your order and make working on your cars a lot easier. All right, so cars that have previously been diagnosed and people bring it to you, to get the job done, and you as a mechanic have to decide, are you going to work on that car just like that, or do you want to provide your own diagnosis? I'm here to tell you that you probably want to look at that car yourself. I've been a mechanic in the industry for about 8 years now, and that's a very small amount of time in the big scheme of things, but this happens all the time. If you're watching this and you're a mechanic, you know all too well, people come in all the time and they're like, I got this problem with my brakes. I want you to put brake pads on it. And you're like, well, I can do that, but there's a diagnostic fee to figure out, do you have a caliper slide sticking? Is the caliper itself shot? Are the rotors warped? Are the pads? There's a million things. And a lot of times people get really defensive about this, and they'll be like, I just want the brakes fixed, and you want to charge me diagnostics for, Stop. Cut it right there, because do you know which part of your brake system is bad? That's what I want to bring to you, and there's a few different focal points of this discussion this week, but the first one I want to bring to you was actually a really positive and a really good customer that I had this week. So they went and got their Toyota Prius diagnosed at the dealership, and they gave me a list of codes. They gave me the inspection, everything. They said, we want this fixed. I said, okay, that's great. These are great resources for me to look at, but I personally want to scan the car myself and see exactly what is going on so that I can make my own diagnosis. I don't care who it is. I don't care what background information you have. You don't want to take somebody else's word on a repair. So I got the car, I scanned it, I was able to do a few tests on the hybrid battery, stuff like that, and found out that the certain cell block was bad. I know what we need to do to fix it. So I made my own diagnosis, and that customer was okay with that. I relayed that information to them. I said, I realized you had it looked at somewhere else, but there's going to be a diagnostic fee because I need to make my own decisions here. And when you're a mechanic, you're dealing with people's cars. This isn't something to take lightly. And I'm not saying it's like the craziest job in the world or anything like that, but you have a very serious job. You forget to tighten a wheel, you forget to do this, that, or the other thing, you can affect people's safety. So I want to make my own decisions on the diagnosis and the repair of that vehicle. I don't want to just go off of somebody else's, just strictly from a safety concern. So like I said, the customer with this Prius was actually really cool about it. They said, I understand, make your diagnosis and then get back to us, let us know what you want to do. So they paid for that diagnosis. Another instance that I dealt with probably 4 or 5 years ago, maybe 3-4 years ago, I know I mentioned it in a video in the past, was there was a customer and I recommended a power steering rack on his Toyota Sienna. I believe it had like 260-ish odd miles on it, somewhere around there. It was a high mileage vehicle, and the power steering rack was just gushing power steering fluid out of the rack, and the boots were all torn, the tie rods were loose. I said, look, I'm recommending a steering rack. And this guy came back and he's talking to me and he's looking at me and he goes, I'm an engineer. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, cool. And he goes, well, when's it gonna fail? What? I was like, what do you mean, when's it gonna fail? He's like, you recommended this, I think it's an upsell. When is it going to fail? I physically lowered the car down, you know, it was still on the lift, and I turned the wheels back and forth, and fluid is just pissing out of this thing. And he's like, yeah, but I want to know exactly when it's going to fail. And I'm like, you know, it's a machine. I don't know exactly when it is going to fail. It is my job to tell you, based on my diagnostics, that this part needs to be replaced. And you're going to deal with all different sorts of customers, so it's just part of the job, you know, and you got to have kind of a thick skin to be in this industry in the first place, but you want to make damn sure that you're looking at these cars yourself. And, you know, that's just from a safety perspective. From a business perspective, so we covered safety, you want to cover your own ass, because you want to make sure that you're not responsible. You know, if a customer comes in and says, I want my tie rod replaced, but it's really their ball joint that's about to fall out, you replace the tie rod, don't charge any diag, and then it comes in on a flatbed because it almost killed them when the ball joint went out. You don't want to deal with that headache. I'm not saying that you would get stuck and go to jail or be completely screwed or anything like that, but I've seen crazy things. I've heard crazy stories happen. You want to make your own assessment on that vehicle and not just deal with the word of somebody else. I mean, you just have to treat it like you have no idea who looked at this last. I don't care if you have a receipt in your hand from a certified, credible shop that says, you know, this is what they said, I just want you to put it in. Always, always, always look at the vehicle yourself and gather your own opinion, because you have no idea. You know, maybe that person had a bad day, maybe they were distracted, maybe they had 5 vehicles at the same time. You don't know what went on, and you don't want that to be on you. An example more from a business perspective would be this week, and my phone rings all the time. You know, people are, you know, can you look at this? Can you fix that? Can you come get this? And I get this text from a customer, potential customer. Hey, my friend just bought this old car, you know, this, that, the other thing. And this person said it needs this, that, the other thing, you know, whatever. And they said, can we bring it by so you can look at it? Basically what this customer told me is they want a safety inspection, they want it kind of test driven, and then they want to just figure out what needs to keep it safe and reliable on the road. And they had all this information of somewhere, or, you know, I don't know if it was the seller, if it was actually at a shop that had, you know, recommended services to be done. My response to that customer was, okay, yeah, sure, I can schedule you in. It's going to be $80 for a diagnostic charge, which is going to cover a test drive, putting it on the lift, an inspection, all of that kind of stuff, so I can make an assessment. Then we can go from there, figure out what we need to do to get this thing, you know, somewhat reliable and safe to go down the road. Now, I never heard back from that person. And I, you know, just my assumption is that they're like, man, I already sent him a list of everything I wanted to get done, and now he wants to charge me to make his own opinion. Well, yeah, that's because that's my job, and I'm not going to put my reputation and my job stability on the line based on the words of somebody else. Again, you could have something that's coming from a reputable source. You could have something that's coming from a reputable shop. You very well could. Maybe it's someone that's a better mechanic than you are. You know, I don't know. You just have to assume to cover your butt that the person that worked on it last was a complete backyard shade tree hack. I mean, you just have to. You have to cover your butt. If you're going to make a mistake, at least you can own up to it and make it right. If you make a misdiagnosis, if you don't diagnose the car at all and just do exactly, you know, what they say they want done, you're taking a huge risk there. And, you know, I'm not talking about routine maintenance. If a customer comes in and they say, I want an oil change, I'd like my tires rotated, I'd like my spark plugs replaced, that kind of stuff, you know, just go crazy, whatever, have fun. But if somebody is having an issue or is concerned about the safety of their vehicle, please do not rely on any advice that they have ever had before. Make your own decision and make sure that you have thoroughly went through this car and come to a conclusion that is going to leave that customer happy, and it's going to lead their car to be safe to drive down the road, you know, haul their kids to work, their grandma, their mom, whatever the case may be. Make sure that you are doing your job properly. And if somebody brings you a car and you agree to work on it based on somebody else's opinion, that's ultimately going to come back on you because you were the last person to touch it. Is that a gamble you really want to take? No, I really don't think it is. And you know, this is going to get into shop politics and all sorts of stuff, and I really don't want to get into business ownership or anything like that on this video, but you have to think about these kind of things to protect yourself. And a lot of this is just based on ignorance. A lot of people do not understand their cars, and that's fine. I don't understand modern medicine, really. You know, I don't claim to be a doctor. I let him do his thing. But I guarantee you, if I went to a doctor's office and I said, hey, this doctor prescribed me this, give it to me, he'd be like, oh, hold on a minute. You know, we're gonna take a step back. I'm gonna make my own assessment of you, and I'll tell you what I'll do. But there's no way I'm gonna fill that prescription without checking you out for myself. Same thing in the automotive world. So I think that's a really interesting point. You know, what do you do? Are there instances where you think it's okay to go off somebody's word, you know? And a lot of it, like I said, getting into business on your own is going to be, you know, customer relations. You don't want to, there's a fine line between, you know, doing the right thing and a customer not understanding and getting irritated with you. What do you do in these situations? I'd really like to know. Drop me a comment down below. I'd really like to hear about it. And a lot of times, that's what fuels ideas for these weekly discussions, you guys. So I'm really grateful when you guys engage on the videos and comment, do stuff like that. What else do you want to hear about on the next one? I really enjoy making these videos, you guys. We got some good stuff coming up for you in the next couple days on the vlog. I got a really interesting idea, something I'm working on for the F-150, the old work truck. So all that stuff, keep it in mind. If you enjoyed the video, drop me a comment down below, like and subscribe if you have not already. We'll see you next time.